I don't know. It takes forever for it to say that it's actually live. It still says going live, going live. But for all I know, it could already be live. All right. Hi, everybody. I think that it's probably going to take a moment for people to start showing up because I have had a strange day today. And I didn't get this posted earlier so that people could set things like that. Stirring up my coffee. So today we're going to talk about having the strength to move on. I don't know what to say about it. I feel like it's something that I've had to do a lot myself. What are you doing? Stirring up my coffee. That probably sounds obnoxious. Yeah, I think the hardest thing, which is to say that, you know, a lot of times we're leaving behind something that initially felt really good to us. And so that's why it's so difficult to move on. Sometimes we have to move on from jobs that we liked, or there was something about it that we liked, or we felt a responsibility to it. And then at some point you have to just realize, yeah, but this isn't good for me. This isn't right for me. Sometimes even something that's toxic can be very difficult to move on from. Why is that? You know, it takes strength to move. Maybe that's part of why it takes so much strength, is because we're scared that what we're moving on towards won't even be any better than what we're leaving behind. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Catalina. How are you guys doing? So we're just going to be talking about having the strength to move on, or, you know, whatever it is that you all want to talk about today. I think I'm going to get us started with an oracle message. This is a really great tarot deck, the Animal Totem Tarot. So this is the actual deck writing out these messages. Now, a couple of years ago, hi, Swati. A couple of years ago, I think my guides were trying to give me, it says my connection is unstable. So that's great. I don't know if, okay, so that message, end of 20 years. Oh, man. Tell me more about it, Swati. What was going on with that? So I had ordered a copy of this tarot deck a couple years ago, and I got a used copy, you know, because I'm like, well, I'll be like environmentally friendly. I don't mind using a used deck. I'll just get the used one. And I got it off of Amazon. And then when it came to me in the mail, it was just the book. It was not the deck. But I opened the book, and there was one card in the book, and it was the strength card. And someone had put it in there to save their spot on the chapter about, and I felt like it was a really special message to me, strength as well. But it's still taken me like 2 years from that time to move on. Hi, Sydney. So, which is, you know, the strength card is also an 8 card. So it's also about having strength. It's something, you know, it's hard to move on from something or someone. Had a major fight with my partner this evening. 1.5-year relationship ended. Oh, in addition to the friend as well. I'm sorry, Swati. Do you think it's definitely over, or was it just a fight that you can come back from? And here my cat. First time she's even come around during the live streams. So that's funny. She's usually taking a nap during those. I kind of hope she doesn't jump up. Yep. I'm sorry, Swati. Let me read this strength card message. So she starts out in the beginning paragraph. It's a message from the spirit animal on each card because it's an animal totem tarot. So each card has a spirit animal. This one is an ox because oxes are strong. And this ox is moving on. It's got to carry this big load with it. And that takes strength. It is not always easy to keep going. And wow. She's even talking about moving on here. I didn't realize that. Hardest to pull off. There are no guarantees along the paths of life, and the only way to find out what we will encounter is to walk these paths. Standing still is not an option. Like it or not, we all have to make our way along the karmic path. I hope that y'all can see me well. It keeps flashing a notification that my connection isn't good. Hi, Julie. So bear with me. It's been kind of a weird day so far. Please have mercy on my soul. Anyway, standing still is not an option in the physical world. Like it or not, we all have to make our way along the karmic path. Each step is a victory. So that's good to keep in mind, like one step at a time. Each step is a victory. Each tear is a reminder, and mile gets us closer to where we are headed. Dig deep, little one, for you have more walking to do on this path you call life. So, it's not all places, situations in our lives. Speak three names. Yeah, I think that's hard. Speak three names is talking about a 20-year friendship that ended. Someone that she tried to help for a long time because she knew that that person was suffering and had depression and anxiety. You have to be a little selfish and put yourself first. If someone is making you feel depressed and anxious, especially, the thing is, you can't make someone else's changes for them too. And to be honest, I've been that friend that you're talking about. I feel like I've rained on people in the past because of that. She says, I feel guilty, but I couldn't tolerate any more of her negativity. Yeah, you had to do what was best for you. Butchering your name, I'm sorry. So let's keep reading. I'm pretty sure you have heard the phrase as strong as an ox, which originates from the fact that an ox can pull twice its body weight. Oxen have been used for transportation and for farming for centuries. In some third world countries, they still are used and are an important part of the local economy. But when you look at the image of the ox, what exactly do you see? One could say that the image shows the brute strength of the ox pulling a heavy load. In other words, a picture of the ox being used for transportation. Or you could say that the ox shows how it can be of service to someone other than himself by offering his natural resource, physical strength. But what does strength actually mean? You see, there is more to strength than just physical muscle or brute force. There is emotional strength, mental strength, and of course, courage. I have always thought that courage and strength seem to be interlinked in the meaning and working of this card. I do too. Look at the path the ox must walk with his load. This can represent the road to anything you are trying to achieve or just starting to begin. It takes time to build muscles, will, and resolve. Courage is not something that happens overnight. It happens from working up to a dynamic change in circumstances. Again, it sounds as well like the Eight of Cups. It takes so much strength sometimes to move on. And it doesn't happen overnight. To take baby steps a lot of times. So then she gives a specific oracle message for business. Since you all have been talking, speak three names. Sometimes people forget that relationships are not battlegrounds. When we find someone to journey with, we are not in competition with them, nor are we waging a war of wills against them. Check in and see how you are using your muscles in your current relationship. Are you supporting your partner, or are you throwing your weight around and making life for both of you tense and insecure? So I don't know if that is helpful to you or not. Hi, Fernanda. Lots of beautiful names today. Are any of you new to the live stream? I feel like some of your names look new to me. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't have the best memory, that's for sure. Let's see. What would Spirit like us to know today about moving on? I am going to be giving away a free live reading here. Probably I'll do that around between 4 and 4:30. I don't know how long the chat will be today. But you'll have to be here to win. So if you want to get a free little reading, you can stick around and see if you win that. What does Spirit want us to know? Akashic Records, evaluation and review. So this is going to be a message for all of us. Just like in a pick-a-card reading, isn't it interesting how those readings can resonate for thousands of people sometimes? Let us all take a moment to take a deep breath. Spirit, we reach out to you today for guidance and support. All of us here listening have our own unique journey that we are on right now. We ask that the message that is about to be read provide us guidance and clarity for our respective journeys. And we appreciate and have gratitude for all of your assistance today. If this message is not meant to provide any of us individually with the clarity that we seek, we ask for that clarity to be brought to us in the way that is in our best and highest interest. For the highest good of all, thank you. Let's see. Akashic Records, evaluation and review. Are there any Edgar Cayce fans out here? I was just thinking about Edgar Cayce yesterday and how that's he's the first association I ever had with the Akashic Records. So all done, been, seen, or experienced is recorded in the Hall of Akashic Records. All that has ever been is in the Hall of Akashic Records, has ever been or ever will be. It's like the cosmic library where all of existence can be accessed. These sacred texts are guarded and safely locked away. Only Metatron has keys to this complete library of our soul's imprint through all eternity. Want to learn more about your soul? Go to the Akashic Records. All the times you have wronged someone and all the times you have loved. All the words spoken in hatred and all the words of forgiveness. Deeds where you acted in your own interests and times you served the collective good. Lifetimes when you struggled, lifetimes when you enjoyed, or when you have taken a life. All the times you have shown your light brightly and the times where you have extinguished light. The times you have lived as male, female, black, and white, a short life and a long life, a life with disability, and a life in complete health. The times that you have been good, bad, to work on, as well as the unique gifts that only you have to shine in this lifetime and bring all that experience back. No one is born without gifts or challenges to experience. You are asked now to look at any repetitive pattern, thought, or situation that keeps recurring in this life and ask whether it has roots in other lives. The one relationship you struggle with, the addiction you just can't kick, or the same mistakes being made over and over again. Yeah, so thinking about patterns. Metatron opens your book at the page you need to see right now. What is it that you need to work on, let go of, forgive, or heal? Alternatively, you may be shown a great attribute or quality that only you have, reminded of wisdom buried within you, wanting to be expressed and highlighted again in this incarnation. Know that all is fair when looked at from an eternal perspective and entwined with the law of karma. The book's pages also reveal that you can ask for dispensation from old karmic ties and struggles if you have truly worked through the lessons and gifts that were within it. Ultimately, God or Source is the one that knows whether we have balanced our books and if our presence within this great galaxy has been beneficial and well spent, or when more still needs to be integrated and shown. It may also be that you are shown the Akashic records here because someone or something irritates and angers or upsets you. You are reminded that what you judge may well have been what you have been or done in another lifetime. Wow. I've read this message before, and that really hit home to me. What you judge may well have been what you have done or been in another lifetime. I mean, sometimes it's even this lifetime, like the things that bother us the most about other people. A lot of times, if we really look at that, it's because that's something within us that we can't tolerate about ourselves. And it triggers that sort of like self-loathing or lack of self-acceptance. So try to be compassionate with others who may be younger souls or simply may be completing the wheel of life and all its experiences, lessons, and blessings in a different order than you. Yeah, our soul needs to have lots of different types of experiences. We need the experience of gaining strength and gaining wisdom. And in order to gain that, sometimes we have to be naive. Sometimes we have to be wrong. Sometimes we have to make mistakes in order to learn those lessons so that our soul understands it. For now, meditate to connect to Metatron and see the huge symphony of your life set against many others. All you have been and all you will be. So yeah, relax, take a few deep breaths, and I'm going to ask you a question. When I ask you a question, I want you to allow whatever comes to your mind to come to your mind. So go ahead. Ask yourself now, what do I need to release? What do I most need to release? Just be quiet and let it come. Okay. I'll give you all another moment for that a little bit more later when I'm on my own. So let's close our eyes again. Have you ask yourself another question here. Ask yourself, what is holding me back from moving on? Okay. I got a strange response to that. So I don't know. I'm going to look into it more later. Hate and discomfort. Juster? Is that how you say? Hate and discomfort. Yeah. Oh, Juster, I just saw your earlier message. Okay, I'll pray for you, but I also urge you to sort of reach out for someone who can support you, maybe more locally. Go to a place where you can be provided with safety. Cindy says past mistakes and heartbreaks. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've been thinking about that a lot too. Like sometimes it can be really easy to get caught up in your past mistakes and sort of it's really what I think it is forgiving yourself for those past mistakes. I keep getting myself stuck like, well, I made that mistake. Yeah, so it's like almost like self-loathing or self-hate for having made a mistake in the past, but it's like you can't go back to the past and change those things. You have to just forgive yourself, I think, is the best way to release yourself from that. And heartbreaks, yeah, that is a very hard one to move on from. I agree. Want to release my anxiety. Sweaty says, my anger issues, which I've controlled much, but yeah, sometimes I lose my temper. Wow. I'm surprised. I have a lot of anger issues, but I don't think that I realized that so many of you would relate to that. That's been a lifelong thing for me to figure out. An unhealthy amount of empathy and guilt associated with it. Yeah, I can recognize that one. Sydney, the constant loop and feelings of embarrassment. Yeah. Yeah, but can you just forgive yourself? What would Sydney's guides have to say to her today about forgiving herself? Is there something that can be said that can help shift her into that? Something that can be said to shift Sydney into more forgiveness of herself. They're saying to think of it as like a graduation, that you're not going to be able to heal and move on until you think of it as like, well, I graduated from that. So almost like thinking of it as a positive thing. I completed that. I completed that mistake. I successfully made that mistake in my past. I succeeded at making that mistake and I graduated from it. That's an interesting way to think of it, but that's what your guides are saying. Wow, I really succeeded in giving my soul the experience of having made that mistake in the past. Congratulations on completing that mistake. I don't have to complete that mistake anymore. So now I can move on from it. Interesting. I hope that helps, Sydney. Sometimes when I ask guides for answers, the insights are so unexpected, but strangely helpful. Spirit always has such an interesting way of looking at things. Yeah, never do it again. So you can forgive yourself. You're like, well, I'm never going to do this again, so I don't have to punish myself. I learned from it. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. You've paid the price. You already served your sentence. You served your time for that. So let yourself out of this mental prison. Yay. All right. Thank you, Sydney. Jester, what if people took advantage of you and you do more? Well, I think that's an issue where you have to develop stronger boundaries with those people. If people are trying to get you to do something that's not good for you, or something that you know that is wrong, if you can avoid those people, that would be my suggestion. You don't need those people in your life. If you can't avoid them, you just have to figure out good boundaries, which is definitely, I mean, it's easier said than done. Boundaries are definitely an issue for me. You mean empathy? Like you empathize with people who want to take advantage of you? I think that people who are very sensitive, who are highly empathic, I mean, definitely we get taken advantage of a lot. But at some point, you have to decide whether or not you're going to continue to allow that to be the case. Once you see that it's happening, I know I've had times where I've been taken advantage of, and it takes me a while to see it. And sometimes even when I do see it, I'm like, well, this person is taking advantage of me, but, we're all humans. We all do things like that. So for me, it's like it reaches a tipping point where I'm just like, okay, no, that's just too much. Okay, you took it too far. But the thing is, you have to set your boundaries before that. Because people who take advantage, they'll keep doing it. They don't have any qualms about continuing to do it. They're not going to be the ones who decide, oh, I'm going to stop taking advantage of you now. I mean, sometimes people can have that awareness, but like, no, most of the time, if someone has found their meal ticket, like they're going to keep showing up for those meals that you're handing out, so to speak. Like, oh, there's a free meal over here and I'm hungry, so I'm going to keep coming around for those free meals. So at some point you have to just say no. It's very difficult to set boundaries with family. That is absolutely the case, especially if you live with them. Yeah, there are no easy answers with that. We just had Father's Day here in the United States, and this year I decided not to do anything for my dad. But it's not even like getting back at him for not being there, but it's just like there's no obligation for me to pretend that you've somehow been an excellent father. I'm not gonna pretend this year. And it was actually ended up being a lot easier. The day went past. I had other things to do on that day anyways. And the day passed, and I woke up the next day, and, I didn't feel bad about it at all. I kind of thought that I would. I mean, I did leading up to it. I felt bad thinking like, oh, should I really just ignore Father's Day, But I did. And, like I don't have any obligation to pretend. It was good for me. Yes. Yeah, it's unfortunate, Sydney, It is. Swati says, at this point of time, I do not know what to do or where to go. My relationship ended today just because of misunderstanding. I'm totally depressed. How long have you been with this person, Swati? Daylight. Mother's Day too, but I had my girls to celebrate with. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you got to celebrate that day for yourself. That's really the most important. For me, Mother's Day is a little bit difficult just because I've lost my mom. My mom was very loving. She had a lot of significant mental health struggles that made it difficult for her probably to be the best mother, but I never didn't feel loved by her. I always felt very loved by her. Okay, so Swati, you've been with them since November 2018. So it's like a year and a half or something. I mean, what's been going on? Like, have you continued to have, have you been having a lot of arguments? You said it was just because of a misunderstanding. Thank you, Sydney. Yeah, my mom passed in 1992. I was 11. So it was a long time ago, but yeah, it's, there are obviously there's still moments where I do kind of wish, like, just wish that she could be here to experience certain things with me. But I think I'm just having a weird day because I don't know why I'm crying about this right now. Like, it's I mean, it's okay. I definitely accept the fact that she's gone. Like, I feel like things have to happen in the way that they do for a reason. Like, I feel like there was probably some sort of soul contract, like, not just for me, but for like the whole family. I think it was probably something that was sort of agreed upon, like on a soul level, like for the family to experience. That really bothered me was like, like, there are some really shitty mothers in the world, like abusive mothers. And like I said, I accept it, and I feel like everything happens for a reason. We're here to have these life lessons and to learn from them. But I'm like, like sometimes, yeah, it feels unfair. Like, why do some people continue to have their mothers be alive? There are some mothers that, like, not to be mean, but there are some mothers who probably should die. It would really be best for their children for them to die. Maybe that's a mean thing to say, but there are some really fucking shitty mothers out there. And then there are truly loving mothers who people lose, like, that's not fair. Like, I feel bad for the people who have abusive mothers who are still around, because it's like, with family, it's even harder to move on, like to set up those boundaries and say, stay out of my life, like, I don't know. Thank you, Sydney. Yeah, I feel her presence. I do know that she is around. And honestly, like I said, she had significant mental health struggles. Like, she was hospitalized multiple times on psychiatric wards. So she didn't have an easy life. And I know that really she's better off in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, her soul is in an easier place for her. So yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since I've actually cried about it. I don't know why it was triggered for me just then. Journey to spiritual enlightenment. What I can tell you is that I was the only friend who understood how to comfort friends when they eventually lost a parent. Wow, I can relate to that so much because, like I said, I was 11 when my mom passed. And I always kind of understood death in a way, like from an early age. I think when someone else loses someone, it's still, even if you understand it because you've had that experience, it's still sometimes it to people than probably the average person, because I think a lot of people just get really nervous and they have absolutely no idea what to say or how to act when someone they know has lost a loved one. That's very true, Sydney. Speak three names. Before his death, all I could say to the bereaved was, sorry for your loss. Now I'm able to listen and talk to the bereaved better. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, that's a good example too of how like difficult experiences that we have serve a purpose, like we're able to be helpful and supportive to other people because of the difficult experiences that we've been through. Thank you, Daylight. 18 when your father passed away. I'm sorry, Swati. Sydney says, I feel that way about my mom. She's really effed up. We don't talk at all, but I felt so free by not feeling obligated to her. Yes. Yeah, I'm so glad that you have figured that out. Because our family members, they really can act like they're so entitled to us sometimes, and they are not. If your family member is abusive to you or takes advantage of you, no, you don't have any obligation to them. When I was a senior in high school, so my mom passed when I was 11, and when I was a senior in high school, and my mom passed in a car accident as well, so it was sudden, it was unexpected. But when I was a senior in high school, 18, a friend of mine, one day we were sitting in class, and my friend was just so worried. She's like, I heard on the radio that there was a car accident, and it was a white car, and my mom drives a white car, and she was worried. And then it turned out that it was her mom. And I remember going to her funeral, and oh my God, I have never heard someone grieve so loudly. I mean, she was wailing, just wailing. It was so loud. You entered the funeral home, and it was just overwhelming to hear her grieving. And she was someone who also, like, she had a difficult relationship with her father, and now she had just lost her mother, and she was left with this father that was not a great father. And she had had such a great relationship with her mom. And I leaned down to hug her, and she looked up at me and she said, oh, Gabby, you're the only one who understands. And I hugged her. It's like, yeah, I do. I understand and I relate, but at the same time, I don't. Like we can't ever totally understand someone's individual, unique experience. But yeah. But I guess maybe if it was a comfort for her to know that someone else could empathize at some level, then I'm glad. I'm glad that she felt that way. You know what I mean? I think sometimes that's nice, just to know that someone else can understand your experience. I mean, like I said, we can never totally understand someone's unique individual experience, but Daylight, I'm not hurting. Yeah, I don't know why those tears were triggered like that, but it's good. I am a crybaby. I cry a lot. I'm a very emotional person, but no, I'm okay. Daylight, no contact with my narcissistic mother. She doesn't love me, and I'm just tired of the mental, emotional, spiritual abuse. I've thought about doing some sort of pick a card reading on how to deal with narcissistic parents, or like what spirit's guidance would be for people with narcissistic parents. Ah, yeah, I think a lot of us, hi, Julie. It's true. Sometimes knowing someone understands my experience is really healing, knowing that I'm not the only one. I feel like group do individual therapy too. And I'm done with the group therapy now, but I'm a really big proponent of group therapy for that very reason. You know, in just everyday life, people don't talk about the things that are really bothering them. But in group therapy, it was like, yeah, I'm not the only one who has these issues, you know? It is healing. It is healing to feel understood, to kind of feel seen. Speak Three Names. I remember that reading. That was such a great reading. That was a message for me as well. Oh, wow, Daylight. Yeah, it is sad how many people have abusive parents. And it's like, oh, it's like it's just like it creates this sort of like pattern that keeps, you know, your narcissistic parents. I mean, narcissism doesn't come out of nowhere. It develops because someone has, you know, been traumatized themselves in some way. So it's like this loop keeps happening, you know, intergenerational patterns. They just keep getting passed on. At some point, we have to figure out how to change those patterns. And that's difficult because, you know, like we've been abused. So we're traumatized, we're broken, you know, like we have to heal ourselves and then stop the pattern. It's hard. Hey, Anna, you forgot about it. Well, I had a strange day today, Anna. So normally what I do is I post it ahead of time so that it pops up and people can set a reminder. And I didn't do that today. We've still got a good group of people here today. I'm glad that you have shown up. I'm glad that you finally saw it. I know you said on my community post that you would be here, so I'm glad to see you. Julie, yeah. Yeah. But there are lots of people like that out in the world. The internet, like someone else was mentioning with their Facebook group, I think that was Daylight. Yeah, Daylight said she has a Facebook group. That's one way of finding support, you know, people who have similar experiences. Fernanda, it is difficult when such an important person is toxic and has made you suffer a lot. When my grandmother died, it opened so many wounds. Was your grandmother the toxic person, or was she someone who was loving and then it was hard to be without her? I did not feel part of the family because of all the abuse and violence I experienced, but now I think I understand and decided to remember her with love, although it triggers me a lot. Yeah, you don't have to stop remembering the bad things, though. I think that, you know, you don't want to necessarily forget those things or pretend like they didn't happen. But at the same time, yeah, I think it is healthy to recognize that people are complex individuals. They can have negative, abusive traits, but also positive qualities that are also worth remembering. What's going on with your moving on process, Anna? What are you moving on from? Oh, great. So any of you who are daughters of abusive mothers, so that's the name of the Facebook group. So Daylight is mentioning that. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And also for saying moms, grandmas, and aunts. Yeah. Because not everyone is necessarily raised by their... I do have readings available if anyone wants one. I know that I was crying, but like I'm okay, you know. And probably in about 10 minutes or so, I'll be doing my free drawing. So stick around for that. And one of you will get a free little mini reading. A lot of us are here to break the generational curses of our families. We are all so strong. Yes, we started out this live stream with the strength card. So that is a very good reminder. Yes, we all are strong enough to break those generational curses. And it is, oh my gosh, it is so difficult because it's, you know, when a pattern becomes so ingrained and it's the same pattern, like to change that pattern, it is so difficult. It's so hard. And you know, especially if the other people in your family are not trying to change the pattern, then it's even harder. I was in a situationship with a man I met last fall. My friend knows him too, and that helps. Yeah. So are you moving on just because nothing is coming of it, or he's been he's wronged you in some way? Is it just because you see that it's not going to work, Anna? It's nice having a girls chat. Yeah, I like that aspect of this as well. Girls chat is good. Maybe there are some guys here and we just don't know it, but yes, I like girls chat. It's good stuff. Yeah, at the very beginning, I read the message of the strength card from this Animal Totem Tarot. This is such a good deck, by the way. It's, what did I do with the actual deck? I don't know. Oh, it's right here. So this is what it looks like. Each of the tarot cards she associates with a specific animal. So if you really like spirit animals, it's good for that. But also, like, unlike most tarot decks, she has this huge book. So it's almost like a tarot deck and an oracle deck because it has these very extensive meanings. Like here's the Page of Cups, which is related to the seal. And it's out with a message from the seal. And then she goes into a longer explanation of the seal and the Page of Cups of life, business and career, family and relationships, and health and well-being. And then she even gives some journal prompts. I am not one of those people who has signed up to get, I mean, I'm not sponsored. I'm not getting anything out of this. I just think it is a really excellent deck. And I really like working with spirit animals anyway. It's, yeah. So just putting that out there. Lisa Robertson. I feel like the illustrators a lot of times get left off with tarot and oracle decks. They don't get acknowledged as much. But, you know, like the illustrations, in this case, she has written extensively. So she deserves props for that. But, you know, the illustrations are primarily what we're looking at when we are using a deck. And I feel like, you know, illustrators deserve their props. To go back to even the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, mostly it's just called Rider-Waite. Those are the two dudes, the two men who brought, you know, their thoughts and ideas to this deck. But Pamela Coleman Smith is the woman who actually did the illustrations. And that's what we're looking at. I mean, yeah, they gave her their input into what they wanted to be included in the illustrations, but she's the one that drew them. And obviously, this is the most well-known and utilized tarot deck of all time. And I mean, I think like a great deal of that is because of her illustrations. So I call it the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Maybe we should call it the Smith Rider-Waite deck. I don't know. Oh, I have 33.3 subbies. Yeah. It's been going down, up and down a lot though, so it might dip back down to 33.2. I don't know. I think sometimes people get annoyed by me with my community posts. I probably should start a Twitter or something so that I can express my random thoughts and opinions that nobody wants to hear over there instead of on my community page. I just feel like I get on people's nerves, but whatever. I'm allowed to have opinions. When was the first deck? You mean the very first tarot deck of any kind? I think that one of the earliest known is the Marseille deck, but I don't know. I would have to look it up. Does anybody else know? It's I think 333 is about Christ consciousness, but it's also supposed to be a reminder that ascended masters are present in your life or something like that. Whereas 444 is about angelic presence around you. 444 is like my personal favorite repeating number because it's just so reassuring. Coming back, thank you. I'm not annoying. Well, I'm glad that you don't think so. Sevra, Gabby, please do a live stream sometime about spirit guides and how to connect with them. I'm new in this community, so it's really complicated to me. Okay, I will try to think about that. Maybe a live stream or a vlog. A vlog entry might be better for that. I don't know. Or we could do it in a live stream. Okay, this is a really good question here. Daylight is asking, do you recommend getting your first tarot deck gifted to you, or is it okay to buy to yourself? So first of all, I think there is a lot of superstition as it relates to this, to the use of tarot. In my opinion, it does not matter. You don't have to have your first deck gifted to you. Mine was not. My first deck was not gifted to me. I actually bought a tarot starter pack, and it included a copy of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, not this one because I've lost it. This is a new version, but it included a copy of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck and also Aleister Crowley's deck, which I did not like. I got a bad vibe from it. I don't know if you all are familiar with Crowley. I didn't even know anything really about him, but I kept the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and it also came with a tarot journal that had little prompts and exercises in it, and that's how I got started. And obviously, you know, I like to think that I'm pretty good at reading tarot, and I purchased my first deck. So there you go. That's my answer. I don't think that you have to have it gifted to you at all. You know, when I was starting tarot, I started learning it in 2006, and I started doing readings professionally in 2009. Back then as well, I did readings in person, but I also did readings via email. And people would reach out to me sometimes for those email readings, and they would be like, can you really can you really read from me for a distance? And I'm like, yeah, it's all energy. Things have changed so much since then, because now we have all these YouTube readings, and I think people are understanding more than they did in the past that it's just energy. Energy isn't tied to you don't have to be physically present in order to be able to pick up on someone's energy. I just feel like tarot reading is just like anything else. It's unique to everyone. You know, everyone's process is going to be a little bit different. Jester is asking what 555 means. It means that there are significant changes that are happening or about to happen in your life. And those changes are good. You know, a lot of people get nervous about change, any type of change, but a 555 change is a positive change that is helping you to release any sort of codependent experiences. So it's positive. Speak three names. I don't like Crowley. He gives tarot a bad name also. When did I start? I started reading tarot in 2006, and I started reading professionally in 2009. That's when it was January 1st, 2009, when I first published my website. It's not letting me scroll on my laptop, so I'm scrolling on my phone. It's easier to see the chat from here. Yeah, I like the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Obviously, at this point, I have a lot of decks. I was actually never a deck collector until I started my channel, which was in 2000, I think August 2018 is when I started this channel. And it was only a few months before that that I even knew that pick a card tarot readings existed. Early 2018 is when I even started really watching YouTube as a significant source of entertainment. And then in summer 2018, I got a pick a card recommended watching those. And at some point I'm like, well, I can do this. I can make these types of videos. But then I was, watching other readers and seeing all, for one thing, I'm just not someone who collects material items, generally speaking. I'm not, I just don't get attached to material things in that way. But I have become a deck collector now. I have a lot of decks at this point. So I am starting to see more of the reason why people do collect different decks, because it just gives you more, what's the word? I mean, certain decks are just a better use for a particular reading than others. I don't know. It opens up greater possibilities. Yeah, Anna says the Santa Muerte Tarot. That is an excellent deck. There's also, I don't have this one, but there's also a Santa Muerte Oracle deck. I don't have that one, but I also really love the Santa Muerte deck. It's right here. Gabby, do you have the postcards from Spirit deck? I do not. I always get a message from Spirit that helps me from that deck. Oh, you would love to gift it to me? Okay. I mean, I can put it on my Amazon wish list if that's the easiest way to do that. How often do you recommend saging your home or using Palo Santo? Well, I do salt, but every time I take a bath, I use salt in my bath to help clear my own energy. And then I have sage essential oil in water in this little spray bottle. And I use this all the time when I'm doing readings. And then other times too, when I just want to spray and kind of spruce up the energy. So I use this on a daily basis and always between readings. And a lot of times, even in the middle of a reading, I'll just feel like I need to clear the energy. But in terms of burning sage, I don't really like the smell of it. But if I really feel like there's kind of some sage to burn it. Several months ago, I had such a weird experience. Somebody was really angry at me, and it was kind of petty, the reason for being angry. But their anger was physically showing up at my home in the form of wasps. Now, this probably sounds weird, but like, I had a maintenance guy come over to look at my drawer or something, and then he had left and gone outside, and I went in. So I have this room that I'm in, which is my office, and next to it is my bedroom. And I noticed all of these wasps. So I walked around to the window, and I was like trying to look out the window and be like, is there a wasp nest outside? And I saw the maintenance guy walking outside, and he looked up at me, and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, well, there are all these wasps. Like there were like 7 or 8 of them, wasps crawling around in my window. I was trying to figure out where they were coming from. And I was like, is there a wasp nest out there? And he's like, no, but I do see the wasps in your window. So many wasps. Like this person was so angry at me that it was showing up in the form of all of these wasps. And I still see wasps. I guess it's a hard word to say. So I did get some sage and burn it then. So that's when I recommend it. If you can just kind of feel, that energy of like, there's something here that just doesn't feel right, then I would say to use, to burn sage in those times. Palo Santo, I burn just because I really enjoy it. Oh, Sydney, did Sydney send me some money? I'm just getting an email. Sydney, are you still here? Did you send me some money for a reading? Daylight says, I felt negative energy last week and saged my whole house, then burned Palo Santo after I learned that when you're prego, that sometimes the negative could try to be around you. Makes sense. I had a moth a couple days ago. I opened the door and there was this big moth laying on the ground in front of my door. And then I kind of touched it to see if it was still alive, and it was. It would flap around, but I guess it was injured or something. I tried to pick it up, but it wouldn't let me. So I was just like, well, I'll just let you lay there and I'll hope the best. I had to leave anyway. But a moth, it could mean a lot of different things. One of the things is that you could be attracting someone who is attracted to your light, to someone who's willing to risk hurting themselves in order to get closer to your light. So that could be a positive thing or a negative thing. It doesn't necessarily mean this person is an energy vampire or that they're trying to drain you, but something is attracted to your light. I don't see moths as necessarily being negative, but it is maybe a little bit of a message of that. But it's also like, I was thinking of it as a positive thing, like someone cares enough about you that they're willing to risk getting hurt in order to get close to you. It could mean that, Daylight. I don't know. Oh, okay. Oh, that was from Candace. Okay, I got an email from a different person named Sydney, which was separate from the PayPal thing. Or, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say anyone's name out loud. Well, thank you. It's a Bohemian Life. Okay, you just said your own name, Candace. Oh my God, I'm so scattered right now. Thank you. That was so sweet. So 333, did you have a question that you wanted to ask? Go ahead and ask it. If you already mentioned your question, I didn't see it. So, your husband, is your husband an energy vampire who you're having your child with? I hope not. Oh, wow. Oh, thank you, Anna. Okay, let me answer Candace's question and then I'll pull a card. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. Let me see if I can. Okay, Candace says, when will I meet or be with my soulmate? Whew. Okay, timing questions are not my strong suit, but I will try my best to answer. When will she meet? When will she meet or be with her soulmate? I get the two of wands. Now this is pretty quick. I mean, the 2 of wands in terms of timing is like 2 days or 2 weeks. But let me clarify that. What's it going to feel like to her? 10 of Cups. So 10 of Cups would be 10 months. To me, this makes me feel like it might be someone you already know. Like maybe you have already met them. Does she already know this person? Okay, so usually with yes or no, I pull 3 cards. And I had a 4th one come out. So we have 2 cards upright and 2 cards reversed. I feel like maybe you have met them, but you don't really know them yet. What can you tell her? Can you give her an indication of who is this person? Who is it? Someone who's lazy and sensual, focused, and rebellious. Lazy, sensual, focused, and rebellious. Give us some more information here, Spirit. I feel like, yeah, this is a rebellious card as well. This is someone who's not afraid to speak their mind. And this is probably someone who likes to debate. They like to argue. They have lots of opinions and they're not afraid to share them. I feel like this is someone who does have a lot of anxiety, though. How would she know them? Is it possible for us to bring this person to her mind? No. So this is someone that you know, but even there's probably nothing that I could say here that would trigger you to know who it is, because it's probably just so out of left field for you that you would just never have thought of this person in that way. Yet, you would probably be surprised to know that this person even had an attraction to you. So anyway, what is your advice to her on her journey of love? We have the 10 of Pentacles reversed and the 5 of Cups reversed. The King of Wands reversed. I kind of feel like they're saying that your guides or Candace are saying, don't get so focused on the long-term goal that you forget to be in the moment. Like you're in a journey, right? And your destination is to be with this true love. And having, you can get so focused sometimes on the outcome that you want, which is this 10 of Pentacles, that you maybe could get stuck thinking, well, I feel depressed, or I feel sad, or I'm disappointed maybe that I don't have this yet. And it's almost like it creates an emotional blockage, keeping you from being able to get there. Oh my God, cards are just falling all over the place. I don't know if that was helpful or not, Candace. You want to know when? I really suck at timing questions, so I apologize. I'm a lot better at emotional questions. What does she need to do in order to bring this person into her life, or bring this experience into her life? What does she need to do? Yeah, 10 of Cups, kind of like the 10 of Pentacles reversed. They're saying don't get so about, or you're at point A, you're thinking about point B, which is where you want to get, which is this 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles existence. That's where you're wanting to get to. You're going to get there if you're so fixated on the end point. You're in a journey. And so you have to be here now in that journey, taking the steps now forward. Yeah, 6 of Swords reversed. You're kind of getting stuck right now. I feel like your guides are just kind of saying like to trust life and have a little bit more faith. And it's not necessary for you to know the when. And I know that sounds like a crappy answer from a tarot reading, and you're like, I paid for an answer and you're telling me that it's not in my best interest to know the answer, but you don't have to know how it will happen or when it will happen. I'm also getting the message, Candace, that you and the person that you're going to end up with, the true love that you will end up with, right now, both of you are actually needing to experience different things. So it's not really time for the two of you together yet, because you need to experience other people in order to learn lessons from other emotional connections to different people before it's time for you all to come together. So it's kind of like they're saying, don't put so much pressure on the outcome, because you need to meet and connect with other people and learn from that. So don't, like, if you meet someone and there's a connection, don't get so attached to it. Just think, okay, here's an opportunity for me to learn a little bit about relationships, for me to learn a little bit about my emotions. But that doesn't mean that it has to be all or nothing. There's still something of value to be had in this connection that I have, even if it doesn't give me that 10 of cups, 10 of pentacles, till death do us part outcome. There's still something valuable, and you're going to need some more of those experiences before you actually meet the person that you're really going to settle down with. Okay, well, I'm glad it was helpful. I get concerned. Okay, and then Anna pulled around for the room. I'm going to pull a card from the fairy deck. So this will be for everyone, and then I'm going to have someone here is going to get a free reading. Okay. And for your free reading, please don't ask a when question, because timing is so difficult for me. I'm better at reading emotional things than timing. I don't know why timing is the one thing that I really suck at. Okay, let's get a question from the Fairy Wisdom Oracle. So we have Bad Dragon. Well, maybe this is appropriate, because we've been talking a lot today about negative influences. Let's see what this means here. So this is from this cute little Fairy Wisdom Oracle. This is the image for the card I pulled. So it's a fairy, and she's like talking to this dragon. The dragon knows it's been bad because it has its head lowered. Like when a dog does something bad and the dog just looks guilty. That's how this dragon looks. I don't know if you can see it very clearly. My webcam isn't the best, but all right, everybody express some gratitude to Anna for purchasing this oracle card for the group. The key word for this card is judgment. The Bad Dragon card indicates that you or someone else is being chastised. Look within. Is it you judging yourself, a situation, or someone else? View a situation from all sides and ask what lesson it has for you. Release all judgment of yourself or another or a particular situation. Awareness. So if you're aware that someone is not good for you, and it's good to stay in that awareness, but it's saying, to kind of release the judgment. You draw to yourself the events of your life. You alone must take responsibility for everything that happens in your life. All is but a lesson. So focus on what you have learned. Be easier on yourself and others. After all, even a dragon can have a bad day once in a while. What lessons have you brought into your life? Happiness? Sadness? It is through your own powers of manifestation that you create your reality. Your thought patterns and corresponding actions are responsible for your world. What you have thought and done in the past has manifested in the present. So what do you want to change in your present life? What do you want to manifest into your future? Can you see that your life is a story in which you get to write the next page and the page after that? The past is just a lesson to learn from. Take the information you've acquired and move forward. Leave any fears, guilt, or anger behind. I feel like this has so much to do with what we were talking about earlier about, about self-forgiveness. Like when we've done things in the past that we feel ashamed of or embarrassed of, or it makes us feel like we're a bad person because we did something in the past. Well, you can't go back to the past and change that. You're in your present now. How do I want to look back on 2020 and feel bad about things that I've done in 2020? No. So right now, I need to make choices that I can feel good about 10 years from now. And I can release the judgment of myself from the past so that I can also be more well-equipped to make positive choices for myself now. Then there's like a little chant here. It says, I ask in the name of Spirit that I be gifted with the insight and knowledge that will keep me on my spiritual path. I ask for help in dealing with all that happens in my life and the ability to learn from it. That's what we're here to do. We're just here to learn things. I ask for guidance that I not be judgmental. Life is but a lesson. Let yourself off the hook day. Wow, that's interesting because we were talking earlier about letting ourselves off the hook. Yeah, we've served our sentence, like the karma. Sometimes letting go of karma or resolving karma is just about simply letting it go. Saying, well, I did this in the past, but I don't need to be so consumed with it anymore. You've experienced enough anxiety and enough stuck in the past. Okay. All right. So thank you to everyone who has shown up today. All right. On this card, I have written a number 1 and 77. So think of a number between 1 and 77 and post your number. The one who gets closest will win a free mini reading from me, a 1-question reading. It's not letting me type into the chat. YouTube, if you want people to use your live streaming service, you're going to need to make it more user-friendly. Just putting it out there.